Hi YouTube, so today I want to make an important post on what confidence is in my opinion, because I feel like this frames a lot of what we tell others on how to feel well in their lives, and confidence is often tied to how we view things like value. And I do want to go more in depth on some topics I've kind of briefly discussed about trends I see in our world today that I don't feel in agreement with and that I don't feel build the optimal form of confidence. So I see a lot of videos, and I've mentioned this before, talking about high value people and high value behaviors and all these things. But you want to know what I think that does? When you say you are high value, that means you're putting yourself on a spectrum where other people are low value or lower value to you. So instead of building something that really is just based in who you are, it's a comparative form of confidence where you derive feeling well by saying you are doing such and such things better than the people around you or more optimally. And I don't think that is a form of confidence I would personally like to have. I don't feel personally that I need to demean others or put others down or elevate myself to be above them in order to say I'm confident. In fact, I have a very different view on what I think true confidence really looks like, and I think this needs to be talked about more. I think especially a lot of people are following these trends that are really causing a lot of harm to society. And I've mentioned this before because the problem is a lot of these trends are about self-inflation. So in order to feel well about oneself, you have to inflate the self. But that's not really true. And there is another way to be confident. So I want to read a quote on confidence that I think is really excellent. Confidence is not a belief in success, it's a comfort with failure. Mark Manson. See, when we have a form of confidence that only embraces our successes, then what happens when life doesn't go our way? We're shaken, we lose our footing, we're not confident anymore. And that is not a form of confidence that grounds you to be able to enact the vision you have for your life while keeping you humble. And ultimately, what is the use in achieving the dreams in your life if it means corrupting your own heart, right? So you really need to have a view of confidence that betters you and the people around you in a way that elevates all of you at once and doesn't demean anyone. And that's what that quote allows for. And that quote allows for the waves of life to hit you and to ebb and flow, and for you to maintain your confidence. So if confidence is a comfort with failure, then what are traits that can be viewed as building confidence? Well, I would say you want to focus on traits you can have lifelong. You don't want to be focusing on a lot of things maybe social media normally tells you means confidence. Not to say they don't matter at all, but it means putting them in their proper place. So things like youthful appearance, for example, or your intellect. I've mentioned these things before. Certain things that, again, are comparative qualities put you at a place where, well, what if something gets changed or altered in your life? Then you're going to feel your confidence shaken. And you don't want that, right? And that's not what you want to enable other people to feel is the best form of confidence. So then what are we looking at? Things that we can grow in, that we also can fail in, that can endure throughout our life. Then what does that mean exactly? Well, that means we're looking more at the internal traits at that point. What things do you like to do that you naturally derive joy from, maybe gifts or talents that you don't need to compare to others to feel good in yourself about. What are things that make you feel alive and vibrant and just good in your own skin that have nothing to do with what you look like? What are things that help you to grow in your inner character? Are you doing things to become kinder and more compassionate? Are you doing things to become more thoughtful, more engaged with the people around you and the world around you, and think outside these metrics of who's better and worse? What are you doing to help others and to grow in that ability to help others? See, all those things are ways of building confidence that have a more steady foundation. See, you don't need to have perfect health or perfect youth or perfect anything to give a neighbor a smile or to feel good that you're thinking on the well-being of the people around you. And that builds confidence that you're finding good values, right? And that doesn't require you elevating yourself and putting other people down in the process. So let's look at other quotes that speak about confidence in the way that I think is healthiest personally. Let's see. Here's another good quote. So, Mark Twain says, "All you need in this life is ignorance and confidence, and then success is sure." Ignorance allows you to grow. Stating your own ignorance is what allows you to have curiosity and to realize that you have things you could still be working on. If you weren't ignorant, you would be omniscient, and that's not what this life is for. So you do need ignorance, and you need to be aware of your ignorance. And being aware of your ignorance is what allows you to fail and improve, and to form a kind of confidence that isn't rooted in always having to succeed. So you need ignorance and confidence in a strange way. And then success is sure. Why? Well, because success is not about never failing. Success is about realizing that you're building confidence through failing, so you can't go wrong with that, right? And it's a more honest way of viewing ourselves and the people around us. We are all works in progress. We are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. So that is, in my opinion, a more stable and selfless form of confidence. Because then when someone asks you, how do I feel better about my life, instead of focusing on these things that can come and go, you're able to tell them to focus outward on building values that cultivate care and gentleness and learning through mistakes and a growth mindset. And let's see. I'll give one more quote that I think is resonant to this. Bruce Lee says, "Always be yourself. Express yourself. Have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate it." So you need to fail on your own pathway sometimes and embody the traits that are truly you. You're not going to build your own confidence by being someone you're not, because ultimately you can fake it for a year, 2 years, but eventually the real you is going to show, and that's okay. And another thing is, your temperament doesn't mean you can't be confident. I'm a very shy person in person and online, but I still feel a form of confidence, and it has nothing to do with how shy I feel, or I feel confident because I know I'm waking up and trying each day to do a little better at making other people feel joyful in their life. And knowing I fail at that, and sometimes my messages to the world are imperfect. And that helps me build a kind of confidence. But it's not about comparing myself to other people, it's about elevating other people to know they feel well too. So I am utterly rejecting these notions of on social media of being a high value person. First of all, we all have the capacity to be high value. Second of all, like I said, comparative confidence is not the way, in my opinion, to go. So I hope this helps. Thank you.